All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Big Matt Podcast. Thank you for stopping by here. Today, we're talking about what kind of direction are we in and how things could be played out better in a scenario of who are we trusting, what gives you direction. And I guess we all have to have goals. So, what are your goals in the direction that you feel like that you're headed? And if you're not headed in the right direction, maybe you're following the wrong people. Come back and we'll talk about it. Yes, thank you guys ladies and gentlemen, for stopping by and hanging out with me here at the Big Matt Podcast channel. These are some reflective issues and things around the world that we all need to talk about and we all need some advice on. And it's great to be able to share in a community. And I think that's how things get done. I think it's good to talk and have open conversation about these things. And I'm vulnerable enough just to tell you that of course, I'm not perfect, but I don't mind giving advice on any situations that I've been through and some wrong directions that I've taken along this old path of mine here, this 47 years on the planet. If you'd like to give, you can there at Venmo. Is at BIGGMATT77. That's fine. I'd appreciate it. And first, we have to do this, our copyright things here to let everybody know that no copyright laws are being broken here as of 1978. Copyright laws, section 107. We're going to be looking at a video here. I'll set it up real quick. It's Glenn Beck is a guy. I watch him some on and off. And we're just going to spend a few minutes with that. And it just kind of lays out this idea of these people that we're following and kind of what they want from you, And I think we already all know that people in Washington are definitely not the people that we should be following. So let's jump over here and get started. And you can see here by looking at the page, talking about revolutionists, Democrats, and Republicans. Rhinos are obviously a vocabulary to use to say that they're far terminology is to say that they're the far Democrats. And it's kind of to set up to say that all of us really are just useful idiots because we've all been sucked into this thing to disagree with each other and what the goals have been all along, and what direction that they're trying to assume that everybody wants to go. And everybody's not supposed to be, we're just not all going to agree on everything. But there's definitely one thing that I'm going to would like for everybody to agree on, which I know everybody's not, but we'll get into that. So we'll hit the play button and run this for just a few minutes. We'll stop and talk about it a little bit. And I got 3 little parts here we'll go through and looking to have a good time and create some conversation and about the revival of a spirit and compliance. And we'll finish off with things such as goals and what yours are and who helps you set your goals.
The goal is, in the 1950s, the goal is to have educated workers. We had cheap energy and we had educated workers. And so we were sending people to college, especially after World War II, like never before. And in fact, it was very unusual for people to go to college outside of their home region or their home area. We weren't going and sending people all across the country and the world. What was happening was people would go to college and they would have their high school sweetheart and they would marry their high school sweetheart. And there was a balance of the elite and the non-elite.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that broke down. We don't have that anymore. So now husband meets wife at university. They both have a college degree. They now have the same political ideals. And that leaves the educated workers kind of behind if they don't have the elite education. I'll explain that here in a second. What happened is education became our God, not our goal. You had to have that piece of paper. You had to have it or you couldn't get a job. Your life was.
Yeah, we all know what they're talking about. Anybody, especially from Gosh, well, I mean, anybody, any age group, you could say the whole system of, and this is not a video about education where it should be. And, you know, we have people that go to battle every day, you know, with our board and with our state board, our own people from superintendents to our teachers that work for merely not a lot, okay, especially in the state of Alabama. That it's just kind of failed kids in a lot of ways. Not all kids, but you know, kids that learn differently. They're trying to teach things of how to teach differently to how kids learn differently. And those are things I worked on when I was in college and going through the education program there at Jacksonville. But the idea here is you had to have a degree to be successful in life. And when everybody on the other side of the fence gets together and decides that you have to do this or you just don't succeed, then, well, that puts all of us people that are not, you know, or the people that are, there's people out there that are not degreed and they make a great living. They make more money than usually a lot of people that are degreed in things. And that's what he's getting at. We decided to make that the most important thing instead of just, you know, what it is.
It's over. You didn't go there. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
That's untrue. The universities churned out scientists, industrial leaders, educators, political leaders, and tech, except tech was kind of off on its own space because a lot of the tech people said, I'm not going. But they hang out.
People that took welding and air conditioning, those kind of things, which, you know, but they hang out with those people and those people wind up getting hired in on jobs from those other people.
With all of these people, and they hire a lot of people that are eggheads. So you have the elites and the super elites. Now, this is from a poll that was just taken and released, and it's fascinating in something, or you have a doctorate. You have at least one postgraduate.
To be elite is to say that you have one postgraduate degree. So you have a master's, and then super elite are the people that have doctorate degrees and make over $150,000 a year. And they're just different. I mean, there's those people out there, what do they really have in common with most of us? You know, not a lot, because in these situations, these people that are teaching these classes, the majority of them are having their own ideology about how things should be taught, and not just teaching the material that should to be taught to further expand your thinking and how things should be done and just how to do stuff. I mean, you know, if you're studying to be a doctor, you can't just not study on how to be a doctor. You need to know anatomy first. And that's the most important thing. So these different things of being elite and who's not.
Degree. The super elites are the same, except they've gone to Harvard or Yale or any of the Ivy Leagues. That's the only difference between the elites and the super elites. So they were asked some questions along with the worker, you.
Us, yeah, just regular people.
If you didn't go to Yale or Harvard, make $150,000 a year, you didn't get at least one postgraduate degree, then you were asked the same questions. And they were questions of, should we be rationing gas? Should we be rationing energy? Should we be rationing food? Should we restrict meat, cars, air travel? And do Americans have too many freedoms?
So that's kind of the thing here. All those people that, this is not his teachings, by the way. This is just stuff that he's found through studies that's come out. Some of them come out just this year, like last month, and some of them come out back last summer. That most of the people, 70 to 90% of those people that are elites, think that we need to ration gas, we need to cut down on energy, and of course, food. You know, we're eating way too much because the population is growing so much. We got room for people, but can we feed them all? No, and cutting back for airplane travel and those type of things. So that's kind of what he's getting out there. And we ain't going to spend the whole day on
natural gas. And we're going to probably have to ration that at some point, but that's fine. Oh, and food, we have to redesign the whole food industry. Yeah. Actually believe. They're not Marxists. Why? Because they're in science and industry, education. They're leaders of countries and companies. They're designing a whole new world.
Yeah.
One where migration plays a really big role.
And this is true. These are things that are going on.
And then if it doesn't stop there, if you still won't
what are we
do
going?
what they say,
what's our direction?
it ends in shoot. Well, we were at nudge back in the early 2000s. We're in shove, and I'm afraid we're getting closer and closer to shoot.
Now, what he's talking about there is you're going to have to go along with these new ways that the elite people, whether we like it or not, we can sit here and pound our fist and shout at the phone you're holding, watching this, saying, "Well, Matt, that's crazy. I ain't going to do that." Well, I know I'm not either, but it is what it is. Okay, these things are things that are real, and these things that are happening. However, those elite people and these people that are totally on this side of the super wealthy and the super, super rich are the ones that own these big companies like whatever, Nikes and all those super big brands. They side with a particular political party. We know that even in the teacher world across the nation, when polls are done, 90% of Democratic funds are from the teaching system. So, and that is what it is. Now, not saying it's right here, right here where we're at in our county, because it's different around here, but that's just how it is. And if you don't go along with this, they're going to try and nudge you along because we've been doing this forever. Okay. And I mean by these huge corporations that spend all the money on making sure that all these little tidbits of information are dropped in. So it's trying to set a direction for people and to where you're going and what you're doing and what your goals are. And I'll go through a little list here in a second of when you just kind of Google the thing of where do you find direction in life, we'll go through that too.
Why? Because you will not comply.
Right.
You don't understand. And so you become dangerous to the elite and to their plans. So now they've gone from behavioral scientists who now we have just discovered that with 5 eyes, that's the collective agencies all around the world that do
intelligence on the world. There's groups of people that watch us through whatever. They keep up with all our thumbprints and fingerprints that are typing signatures on our phones and our computers to see because of the NASA. When Bush set all that forth because of terrorist actions, we had to find out, to want to keep an eye on people. And I'm okay with that. I'm not hiding anything. I'm not trying to run a Ponzi scheme or some kind of pyramid cult or something. I'm just me. I don't do nothing weird, but there's a lot of people that do. So the whole idea to this is to be able to keep an eye on people and to learn what people want. I mean, everybody knows their own. You're thinking about, I was looking at something the other day, a stand, I think, some kind of stand or something for a TV holder. And I didn't even search it. And you roll through somewhere on Facebook and there's a stand for everybody knows what I'm talking about. These are the people that run these things that are giving you direction, whether you know it or not. Whether you like it or not, they're giving you direction.
But I was just talking to somebody about energy the other day, and I was talking to these people that are way smarter than I am. It was a room full of a bunch of energy experts, and I learned a lot. And one that was that by 2027, AI, just the number crunching for AI, will take 25% of our energy. I don't know if you know this, but we're already close to rolling blackouts. Mm-hmm. And by the way, you're not seeing it yet, but God help us if we can't turn this around in the next election, because 2025 is the year we really start to feel the impact, and we can go to ration gas and energy.
Yeah, because see, they need to ration gas. I mean, it seems like to me, I'm country, but I ain't dumb. And it seems like they want to keep you at home. They tried to do that with this, whole thing that broke out here, 2 years ago. And I wound up working myself to death. I worked more then than I ever did. And the people in the industry that I was around with parts and car repair worked a lot, made a lot of money, and then presidents change and those kind of things start happening. Well, if you have an electric car, and we're talking about we don't have enough power to generate to keep these cars charged. So what happens when there's no power and you have a blackout in your community for a day, or maybe they have to cut down on power for 6 hours? These things happen a lot in big cities. If you don't know for yourself, just search it. or call somebody that you know that may live in the city. Those kind of things happen regularly. So when your car's plugged in, it's not getting charged. So guess what? I guess you're going to walk or you're going to ride a bicycle. And eventually, over time, this ain't going to happen in the next 2, 3, 4 years. We're talking about in a 10-year time, by 2030, these companies want to make where everybody will have an electric car and think, well, surely they don't think that's going to save money. They do understand that it's going to actually take more money to have, you're going to need more nuclear plants, therefore causing more harm to the environment than if we just drove cars that run off of gas. Because we can filter that and use converters and those type of things and make better fuels. So, well, that's why they think that. These groups to keep you at home, okay, and keep you away from each other, because we don't want people to get together, and we don't need to smile on our brother and everybody join hands and love one another right now, like the song goes. We don't need that. We don't need convoys of trucks going the border and people trying to help each other. We don't need terrible situations like what happened at 9/11 that join this country together in arm in arm, and people are ready to take up and defend their country and defend each other. But this last time, this thing that divided us between people and elections and those type of things and the virus, it's just been more and more as to where they can't count on each other anymore. So, where are you supposed to go? What's your direction? What gives you direction? And what's your goals? Let's finish this up here.
Up and say, no, thank you. But you don't see what's actually happening here. The left doesn't see it. The Marxists think it's great, but the Democrats don't see it because they're so freaked out. They have them scared. They have you scared.
Yeah, I'm not.
So you become a useful idiot. And they hope that you will go and do something crazy. We are entering the most dangerous phase of this because you are winning.
Yeah.
You are winning. They are terrified of you. You don't believe me? Go watch the WEF. Watch it from 2 years ago to this year. They are terrified, and they're all about cognitive security, making sure that you don't find out the truth until it's too late.
And that is the truth. And I can tell you right now, that's kind of the reason I wanted to start doing this. We do a sports show on Sunday nights, and I share some other news during the week of college news breaking through the week. But I got to where we couldn't find sports news anymore because it all involved these, Big Mouth, Stephen A. or Max and all these guys. They're talking about the president of the United States and just downing him. I don't care about your political affiliation. We can talk and have conversations and be friends or be knowing each other and have conversations forever. And I not know who you support. I don't care. There's other things that surely to goodness we can realize that we're humans and we can have other obvious traits that will be suited towards each other besides politics. Why? Why does it have to be that way? It don't have to be that way. Take these off because I don't need them no more. It don't have to be that way. And it's being made to be that way by your choice. You deciding to let those things happen, and you don't have to, because you can control what you do and what you watch and those type things. So I made those choices years ago. Now, we appreciate Mr. Beck there, Glenn. You can find his stuff over there. I'll put it in the comment section later. So this boils us down to, it's good, 20 minutes in. It boils down to this. Who gives you direction? Is it these people that we've been talking about, these politicians? Find Bill Maher podcast. You go there and watch him. I've watched a lot of his stuff. We don't agree on everything, but that's the difference in me. I can watch somebody that I don't agree with, and I'm not going to explode into flames like these people on the other side that can't even listen to anything that an electoral person that's going to run for president, what he has to say, and not think, I could go along with that, whether you like it completely or not. Well, he had Pat Bet David on. I've reacted to a lot of Pat Bet's podcast. He's a super successful businessman. Iranian, moved over here when he was 9 or 10, and him and Bill Maher are a lot different on the political scene. And they got talking about, because the podcast Bill and them does is in California. That's where he's lived most of his life. And he's a Democrat. He don't claim to be a liberal because he don't like where they've went. This just some of the complete psycho stuff is way out in left field. Like Rogan said, they're way crazy. Like they took one little side road and it's just kept going, and they're way over here now. And a lot of these people have fallen away from that way far crazy left Marxist type stuff. So Pat had asked him about the governor, Newsom there, and him maybe to run for president and what they needed to do. And, how could he be effective? Could he run? Is he a good enough politician to be able to debate against Trump? Who's the nominee? Because none of those people, the Democrats, feel good about Biden. And we all know why. He's just, bless his heart. I mean, he's just old, man. And he's got dementia. And I've dealt with a grandparent that dealt with that before she passed away. And it's not fun. I got a close friend right now. His mom's doing it. It's terrible. It's so hard, and it's just sad. And he needs to be taken care of and stay at home, be comfortable with his wife and his kids and whatever, but not be the leader of the country. And we know that one person don't run it, but somebody to be opposition to Trump. And they got speaking about Newsom, and he said, well, he's a winner. So Pat asked then Bill, well, you say he's a winner, then how is he a winner? And Pat pushed him on a couple of topics, and I'll find it and I'll share it over here in the comment section. Just watch it. It gets in probably about the first 20 minutes or so. They go back and forth a little bit, not arguing, because Pat's too smart to argue with somebody. He's just going to listen. So the end point of that with Pat and Bill, I'm talking about who's running for president offices, and Bill keeps laughing and telling Pat he should run. He's slick. He's a good politician. Well, he's just smart. Pat just pays attention. But the point that Bill has no answer. When you say what you want, well, the Democrats are detail oriented. They said, well, okay, if they're detail oriented, then this and that, and why don't they do this, or why did this happen, and how did they let all these things go under their watch, and all the chaos and manipulation and lying, that as soon as there must not be good at details, because as soon as Trump won against Hillary, she accused him that night of cheating. And then within the next week, he would come up for impeachment like the next day. That, Russia was all bought the election and put Trump in. And then they had a whole court thing about it, and they found out that Hillary wrote a letter to the FBI director. It was a lie. He knew it was a lie. He admitted it on live TV, said he signed it knowing what he was doing. And that's just the kind of stuff that we've been having to deal with. But it's still the greatest country on earth. So it tries to give direction to, what direction is Bill taking in all this situation, And when I made this, I'm not necessarily making this about politics. It's just what's popular. And I know it's what people was paying attention to. And I do some, but I'm not going to sit around and wring my hands about it. Okay. Now, who gives you directions? We ask politicians? No, we hope not. Yourself? Do you get guidance from yourself and your own instincts and stuff? That's great. That's a good idea. I would say probably get your direction from God. That would probably be a number one. That'd probably be a pretty easy answer right there. Now, to know about who is giving us direction, if you look up things such as goals and how do you get direction in life, if you just Google it, you come across things like this. Don't overthink things, take action, trust your instincts. Don't just notice what that makes you happy, and find your strengths and focus on your values. And of course, have good people around you. And also they added in a beginner's guide. That's a book by a Buddhist, that challenges you to find your inner self and know what your strengths are, and you all get things from yourself, and God's not real, and that, but that's that thing, which that's just not. It's not how it's going to work, because you can't save yourself, and no man will ever be able to save you. So I would suggest that finding Jesus would be a definite answer to know who can give you direction. That he gave his life to submit himself for your sins before he even knew who you was. And it's not really complicated. So, find the North Star. They tell you to look inside yourself and find that. Well, there is something inside yourself, something you can find. It's the Holy Spirit. And that's what sets apart from other people, from Christians. The Spirit can reveal itself in your dreams and signs and things that you see, and just in things that go on that you may not even notice. But things are happening and things are working around you. Job 33:14-15 says, when he lays your head down at night, the sleeper, dreams and has visions from God and those type things. Proverbs 3:5-6, trust in the Lord with all your heart and don't lean on your own understandings. And John 14:6, Christ says that he is, of course, the way and the truth and the life. And that seems pretty easy, right? It's not hard to understand that. So we figured out who. So what gives you direction? So what inspires you to do what you want to do every day? Is it what God is give you to do in your goals? Do you think about, Lord, I've failed so much, and what direction do I need? I hear all this stuff on TV about politicians, and I see the direction the country's going. And Mr. Beck there broke down some things of showing how our education system across the whole nation has just been a very big problem. It's not been adjusted over the years. It's being controlled by people that want to play in their own sandbox, and they don't want to share, and they're going to do their own thing. And if it's imagine of cutting us out of the picture, so they're the ones standing up on top of the hill to win the game, then they're okay with that, because it's just how it is. So, and what gives you in direction to know that Christ is the North Star, and it just don't have to be a thing to be overzealous about, and to know that everybody is given their own path from God. So, what gives you direction? I would hope that it is doing God's work. And we all have gifts. So are you using those gifts that God has given you daily? Are you doing those things? I hope so. And last, what's your goals? What's the end goal to all this? It's just the end goal to all this is going to go away, and there's going to be a new heaven and a new earth. And we can go through Revelations and talk about that, and how things are winding up right now overseas. Things are going on in Israel, and Hamas has been taken down a level in the past day or two. Things are working out a little better over there. So our goal in the end is to what Christ said. He said, go out and make deacons of men and baptize them in my name. So that's what we need to do. So we'll finish it up and wrap it up here with direction. It's going to take all of us to work together. But what is the direction of us? What are we supposed to be doing? Pray for this country. Pray for patience. Pray for understanding. And God's will to be done. And his will is going to be done. So, and what gives us direction, we hope that God gives you direction in your life. And if he's not, you need to pray about it. and you need to think about it pretty clearly. And of course, your goals, we just went over that. Knowing what your gifts are and talents are so you can move along through this world in a positive way and to positively impact people in their lives on a daily basis. I think that's the point for us to be here. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. It's something I had on my mind and my heart. And guys, these old people that's running this place, they're not for you. I don't care what line you draw on that card. It's a totally different world. They didn't have to grow up like you. We don't make decisions on buying groceries or paying the power bill. I mean, I'm really like, what are you going to eat tonight? Or am I going to pay the power? I got gas bills due and I'm trying to pick up extra work. They don't have to make those decisions. They never will. They never have, because Glenn pointed out what it is and why it is that way. Because they're part of a group of people here on earth that's in these Ivy League schools and they make over $150,000 a year, but they ain't no smarter than you. They ain't no smarter than me. They just say have some papers that say they are. But I bet you when things get bad, they're all of them is going to holler, Lord, help me, please. Oh, God, help me. I don't want to deal with this. That's the team we need to be on. Don't fuss and fret over all these guys. We're going to see some stage debates and Trump and Biden and all that kind of stuff. Do not let your hearts be troubled, okay? If you're not sure about where you're going when you go to bed tonight, confess your sins with your mouth. Just say it. God is Lord. Lord, I'm a sinner and I can't walk this planet without you. It's hard. I'm not going to escape this place alive. Nobody is. I admit that I am a sinner. I believe you died and rose on the third day. It's just that simple. But it don't get easier from there. Okay. So pray about things and share with your friends, man. This is what's good. This talking, this is what helps me. I do this to share because it helps me spiritually grow. Some people don't. Some people need to be quiet and be in their room. I can't. I like to talk. It's just what God gives me. I like to share and tell you I'm a failure and I fail every day. And it's okay. God loves me. He still loves you too. So we all need to know who we're getting directions from. We need to know what direction we're going and what our goals are. And I think we just kind of covered all that. So thank you for coming by on the Big Matt podcast channel. And tune back in probably another day this week, maybe. I get stuff on my mind, man. I think God puts this stuff on my heart to share with just one person out there. Help them have a better day. And I hope you do. Thank you all and God bless you.